Welcome to the Lila Life Show. I'm your host, Linda Andrews, and you've tuned in to the right place to up-level in your life and business. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Lila Life Show. I am your host, Linda Andrews, and I am very happy to be with you. Welcome to today's episode, The Practice. So, spoiler alert, everything is practice, everything. And we might not take it that way, right? It's like we get really serious and some people want to get it really perfect. Maybe this is where procrastination comes in. And this invitation to look at everything as practice is really powerful because it can be this instant reframe of a little bit of pressure off, looking at that feedback loop, which you've heard me talk about, right? The information that you can ascertain from what's happening, what's gone well, what could go better, now what? Those three golden coaching questions. So we have this invitation to take everything as practice, this feedback loop, what went well, what could go better, now what? That's always on display if you're choosing to have that awareness, to have that reflection. And then in that now what is the new action? The choices, inaction is also a choice, right? And so we can take a look at our life and see where are there empowering practices or habits or patterns, and where are they disempowering? This kind of inventory can help you unlock some things and moment into whatever stride is calling you. I have a feeling that everyone listening has something that's bubbling up within them that could use some more momentum. You could think of a specific life area. Is this your health? Is this your business? Is this a family relationship? Is this your financials? Think of whatever that area is for you, and then start to consider what are your practices that surround that. When I say practices, I really truly mean everything, like it's all practice, but then you can think specifically what actions, habits, patterns are supporting or not supporting that focus area that you want the momentum in. So see what comes up for you right now. Usually there's a couple things that are just screaming right at you. And this is where, whether it's a designated writing spot, like a journal, if it's a list online, wherever you need to, grab the sticky pad and doing that brain dump around anything that you need to clean up around loose ends, but then also maybe some new habits and patterns that can support you in that life area now. So for me, I had gotten pretty like a setback in my fitness. And then I was like looking at it, I'm like, whoa, okay. And I had a little weird accident I mentioned, but I had the reboot and like get back on board. And this is another thing that instead of setting up for success, it can be failure. It's going from 0 to 60 versus like 0 to 2. And sometimes that 0 to 2, that transition can help be more sustainable. If you wanted to work out every day, for example, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but say you do, and then you go from literally 0 to 7 days a week. How many weeks are you going to get under your belt before you're burnout, you're tired, you're injured, and then you have to start all over? And then this becomes the drama. And so the drama is a nice segue, because sometimes when it comes to practices, it could be a little boring. It could be repetitive. It could be somewhat mundane. And so there's that self-sabotage that loves the chaos, that craves the chaos, that lives off the chaos, that is procrastination, distraction, all the things. So if you're able to see, oh, wow, like I do tend to lean towards chaos and sort of make it happen when it doesn't need to happen, it's all starting with awareness, right? And that awareness is the observation, the noticing. It's like this soft, loving picture, like holding a little baby and looking at them. Like, can you give yourself that level of awareness that it's like yourself is that little baby and you're looking at yourself with that sweetness, the way I'm looking at my puppy that's doing parkour right now next to me. it's having that level of softness for yourself when you're in that observation. So what are we really looking for? One is everything's practice, and that in itself is an invitation to soften a little, not taking it all so seriously. It's like keeping the ball moving forward versus like, I got to get it perfect today. Those are two very different energies. And then looking at what could be more supportive practices to add in, and it's this trial and error feedback loop that's really important. So there could be an amount of time that's kind of experimental. Maybe it's all experimental, so it can be an extended amount of time. But for the type Aers out there that is like, what? You want me to like, what do you want me to do? You want me to disrupt my whole entire whatever? Try some things on. And if you give yourself a couple weeks to try things on, right? It could be a new routine, a new fitness class, a new meditation practice, journaling. Give yourself a chance to see when you like to do it. See if you do like to do it. If you don't like to do it, what's the resistance that's showing up? Just letting yourself have that space and discovery versus like the one time it didn't work out and you're like, I hate this. This is all very important also as it relates to what your goals are right now. And some people love goals, some people hate goals. Um, Desired outcomes is a word I like to use, also, two words I like to use. But thinking about what you are intending to call in your life or put into motion in your life, this is going to take another level of being and unfolding for you. Maybe there's some people in your life that can be that subconscious inspiration for you to show you that it's possible. And there could be some things that if you shifted would help you do that much better. So just thinking about what that is, and then can you schedule it? Can you get that in your calendar? Can you get that time zone, that experimental time zone going so that you give yourself a chance to make that be the new habits and patterns? Habits and patterns are sneaky because we may not really recall exactly when they started, and they may not even seem that disempowering or could just be like, meh, neutral, right? And then to make a new one like takes that consistency and that time, energy, and attention on a repeated basis. So, we can go back to that fitness example. Okay, I'm ready to train for a 5K. And then you do the first run and it's really hard. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I'm good. And then a week later, you're like, man, I feel really out of shape. Right? It's like that's that personal responsibility of, hey, yeah, like I kind of let myself get to that place. And now I need to take some steps to get to a different place. I'm using the 5K example in an attempt to be neutral, and like you can cross apply this to anything. So again, pulling up some of your real world examples that are important to you, scheduling that time, making that commitment to yourself, taking ownership where you are, and getting excited. So this has been a real reframe for me where, I have visions, and then there's steps that will increase those visions coming into reality. And it's really exciting. And so the more I can get out of my own way and get the disempowering, limiting habits and patterns, replace those with more supportive activities, the more I'm one step closer, one step closer, one step closer. I think that as it pertains to practice, your practices, it's important to come up for air. And what I mean by this is a check-in around what your values are, a check-in around what your vision is, and then coming back to the day-to-day and looking at taking that inventory and, like I said, adding the different more supportive actions in. So I hope this is the perfect reminder for you. These practices, it's like that, the mantra of it's all practice, it's really resonating right now. And you have every single breath you take, like that's practice. It's all literally practice. You know, it's like the work isn't in your coaching session. The work is in between the coaching sessions. So noticing even how you're showing up for life, what little mindset shifts can help you be even more present. One of my favorite presencing tools is to feel my feet supported on the ground beneath me, rubbing my fingers together, noticing the smell in the air, noticing the temperature of the room, really getting into that present moment. And that tends to allow for those synchronicities, the alignments to flow from that space. So I hope you got one little tidbit that's going to stick with you for this week. If there's anything that really shines through, drop it in the comments. I know that there are people, you may be one of them, that are in this discovery moment for their career, for their livelihood, maybe even with their family. There could be these pages turning, right? So give yourself the gift of checking in around your practices, taking that coming up for air moment, looking at your life, being gentle with yourself, and really seeing what wants to come through. So thank you all so much for tuning in today. If you are not a member of the collective, I would love to have you as a member of the collective. If you use the promo code TLLS, the Lila Life Show, TLLS, and you head over to lilalife.co, get synced in under the Lila Life Collective, sign up, use that promo code TLLS, and that will give you access to the full Life Expanded program, all of the Lila Life Collective, and our updated regular content that comes from our partners and our coaches. And that also includes some special discounts and promotions as well. So I know the times that we're in right now may not feel like the easiest. It can sometimes feel quite destabilizing, but that's when these practices are more important than ever. And in the past year and a half, I find myself sometimes like edging on nihilism where I'm like, nothing matters. And I find myself say, and everything matters. And I love the lightness of nothing matters, right? It's like the practice, right? It's all practice. It's all practice. Oh yeah. And everything matters. And so it's all practice and it all matters. So be in that integrity with yourself. And again, gentle observation, not judgment, right? That brings you in a whole nother frequency. And sending you much love wherever you are. Be well. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Lila Life Show. Be sure to share, like, and comment. Tune in next week. And if you're not already a member of the Lila Life Collective, you'll want to be. So take a look in the show notes and be sure you sign up today. Have a beautiful day.